What a great time to be an Xbox fan. Maybe you enjoy their consoles price hike. Maybe you're one of those very rare few people who finds value in the Game Pass price hike. Price hike, price hike, price hike, and more price hikes. That's right. Everything Xbox has pretty much at this point, I'm pretty sure, gotten like 30% more expensive. And games in general have gotten even more expensive for Xbox because now they're selling double A or single A quality games like The Outer Worlds and Avowed for triple A release prices. Yeah, that's amazing. I know. But what do I know, honestly? I can already hear someone say, "You don't know anything." Yes, yes, of course I don't. That's why I only started saying this like a year and a half ago, saying that it's starting to look real bad for Xbox and expect to pay more. And, well, I was obviously wrong. Oh, wait, I wasn't.
Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today. It's another interesting day in the world of Xbox. Just yesterday, we talked about those 30% profit margins that were set. And when you see the recent revenue numbers for Xbox, you kind of get why the push is happening. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to break down another slew of Xbox news. We also have brand new comments from Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella talking about the next Xbox console, basically confirming that report that we covered earlier this week from Jez Corden on what the next Xbox console will be, which is, as we described in that video, a console PC hybrid. But also, he has some other interesting...
Wait, I completely missed that. Why the heck? Dude, if I'm... Are you kidding me? A console PC hybrid? I can attach a controller to a PC. Not that I own a controller, but if I owned, I would just attach it to the PC, and that's called a console. Why would I pay Xbox a premium for them to make me a PC? I can already pay a premium on so many places to make me a custom PC that costs like 50% more than what you would get if you put it in from parts. Not that I can do it. I have friends that do it for me because they're smart when techno babble, and I'm just a moron. But beyond that, dude, who the hell is gonna buy an Xbox PC? Like, why would anyone do that? It's probably gonna be 3 times more expensive than anything else on the market. Oh my god.
thoughts that he shared that I wanted to talk a bit about. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here and you're into the world of Xbox, like I said at the start of this week, it's a busy week full of Xbox news. Consider subscribing. All right, let's begin with the numbers here covered by Game Developer. They write Xbox hardware revenue is in decline again by 29%, with gaming revenue at Xbox.
Zing! I mean, I knew that. Is anyone actually surprised to hear these news?
Falling by 2% and 3% in constant currency, amounting to $113 million lost. Now, I know for a company like Microsoft, you look at that number, you're like, that's a lot of money, but also not a lot of money to the...
Who the hell uses the term constant currency, okay? We have transcended using fancy buzzwords at this point. No one uses the term constant currency. If I had to explain, I would have to Google it now, because otherwise I couldn't even explain properly it any longer. Holy hell. Dude, when a company starts using these arbitrage terms, see what I did there? You know it's bad. You know it's bad.
Multi-trillion-dollar company, but as I'll get into here a bit, when you start to assess the numbers of other parts of Microsoft versus Xbox, it does paint a concerning picture. And of course, we can see the synchronization of when hardware started to decline with the announcement of the multi-platform push. And there's no doubt that this upcoming console PC hybrid is not going to be for the really hardcore consumer like you or I. Like I was talking about on Defining Duke, and the reality is when I think more and more about this next Xbox console, I wonder how for me it is, because I'm lucky enough to have a PC, a handheld PC, a PlayStation, a Switch right here next to me. Like I'm very well...
All of that sounds useless except for the PC.
...well taken care of. And so would a PC with an Xbox skin really speak to my library outside of my job? I mean, of course I'll pick it up and cover it, but would it speak to me when I already...
I can't tell if his hand is giant or these things are really small.
have like a great rig at home. I think, as we'll get into with these numbers here, the exception at Xbox is that hardware is there as sort of a off-ramp. Get you on out of here. And I really don't know if the casual console base is going to transition over to that, because to them, they know gaming is this kind of cheap console thing. Like, I'm going to spend $500 max. And when the rumors are that this next PC is going to be
cheap console thing, oof,
over $1,000, and I mean, we saw the price of the Xbox Ally. I mean, this thing's going to be expensive. Sarah Bond saying it's a very premium, very high-end device. Like, Xbox is trying to create this new image around their brand that they have seen the light, as we'll break down a little bit when we talk about Satya Nadella. But more on the numbers here. They write, this was driven by a decline in Xbox hardware, which saw a revenue decrease of 29% due to the lower volume of consoles sold. Microsoft previously reported a hardware decline to 42% year over year during Q4 of the full year ending June 30th, 2024. As laid out in Microsoft's fiscal year 26 Q1 earnings report, the decrease in gaming revenue is offset in part in Xbox content and services, which increased by 1% against a stronger prior year comparable. The company attributes the latter to better than expected performance from third-party content. Third-party. Think of how much content Xbox has released. They've done a lot wrong, but they've been putting out games, man, and they're thinking third-party.
Well, what the hell is Xbox doing? They're already accounting for fiscal year 20. What do you mean? What do you mean? Fiscal year 26? If you're accounting for that, how much are you accounting for? Like fucking 2 days? What? Dude, Xbox is on the deep end. Holy hell.
Why the revenue went up. Just keep that in mind. Let's keep going. During an investor call, looking ahead at Q2, Microsoft Chief Financial Officer Amy Hood said the company expects revenue to decline for Xbox content and services in the low to mid-single digits. This is against a prior year comparable that, quote, benefited from first-party performance, end quote, partially offset by growth in subscriptions. Of course, I think that is pointing to Call of Duty. In addition, Hood said that hardware revenue should decline, quote, year over year, end quote. This is despite the CFO saying the company saw a great response to the Xbox Ally launch. Lastly, Hood added that Minecraft reached 100.
There is no way the Xbox Ally launch was good. Nothing Xbox launch is gonna be good. That's like the secret sauce to this. Every time they say good, they're kind of just lying, because you can't really quantify good. You know, there's nothing that, it's not a liable statement effectively. That you can say it's good, it's bad. There's not a liable statement, so you can always just say good, even though it's probably bad in the eyes of most people. Yeah, because you can't just have some kind of a random handheld trash that no one really buys in the first place. And the handheld market actually has, like, good stuff in it for the people who want to use them. So the chances that the Xbox Ally launched and it actually didn't undersell what they expected is, well, in my opinion, I haven't looked into this, but I'm very confident in just kind of almost blindly saying it probably wasn't good. Oh my lord.
155 million active users, calling it an all-time high, while also setting a new record for players on PC, albeit without specifying a number. So if you've been in the Xbox news space for a while, nothing here is surprising to you. Content and services are up in some type of percentage, usually a very low percentage. Meanwhile, hardware is significantly down, and it's been down every quarter for multiple years now. Like, it's a bad picture, right? Like, this is a company totally on the outs with hardware in the way we traditionally think about it. Your PlayStation, your Nintendo, they're not doing that anymore. They're done subsidizing, and they're trying to think about it like a PC. But where I think things really start to come into view is where you see how Microsoft is doing in other areas of their business.
Now, Maddie's gonna use random words. Subsidizing? What the fuck have they done subsidizing? Subsidizing is, in the most simplest terms, where you take money and you put it into something to see some kind of effect. What the hell is Xbox done subsidizing in that case in terms of hardware? Because I'm pretty sure they make their own hardware.
And this is where as I said in the video yesterday, I don't mean it in a I'm sympathizing with Xbox or I'm cheering on the corporates out there, but I get why Xbox is getting the squeeze, and I'll break down how we got here. But here's some numbers on growth that we've not really ever seen from Xbox this generation. Game developer writes, during the same investor call, Hood touted revenue for Azure and other cloud services being ahead of expectations with a revenue growth.
Azure. About what is this? Funny birthday?
Growth of 40%. In the terms of AI and cloud services, revenue was $30.9 billion, which translates to a 28% year-on-year growth. Now, Xbox has had good stretches throughout this generation. I'm not saying
AI and cloud services, odd Game Pass, and the price increase and whatnot, okay?
they haven't. There have been a lot of bad ones, though, and obviously now we see with the
Notice
hardware
this
numbers,
not that
they've been
one.
on the decline. You have to think of it this way, right? You buy Activision Blizzard King, you buy the biggest mobile game, you buy the biggest first-person shooter, like the biggest video games ever. 2 of them are now in your library. I, too, would expect my revenue picture to turn around, and I would like to see numbers similar to other parts of the Microsoft business. I'd like to see Xbox, if I'm like Amy Hood or other executives at Microsoft, I would like to see Xbox ahead of expectations when you buy one.
He's right about that. He is very right about that.
One of the biggest publishers in gaming, and just a couple of years before that, you buy another massive publisher in video games in Bethesda, combined with Game Pass and of course
I mean, everyone knows that Bethesda is just writable off at this point, okay? Spending 80 billion on Blizzard and getting, well, garbage. Okay, at least you have some kind of prospects there. But spending 8 billion on Bethesda and getting Starfield, man, I would be suing someone.
Xbox's push for cloud gaming, like there's been a major investment there. I don't blame them to a certain extent for being like, it's time to collect. But in fairness, as we talked about yesterday, Xbox is running a profitable business. It's just, to Microsoft, not profitable enough for how much they're spending on it. Whether it's just the average operating costs, which we don't know, or the acquisitions we can point to and know how much they are. When you're making the biggest acquisition in video game history, you're going to get squeezed because you're going to look at other parts of your business as Microsoft and go, why are we handling Xbox like this? Like they should be making way more money. This gets us into our comments with CEO Satya Nadella, as covered by IGN, where he basically confirms what the next Xbox will be. Here's the quote. Remember, the biggest gaming business is the Windows business, Nadella began. To us, gaming on Windows... and
that is such, by the way, bullshit, Cope. I have heard this already. This is like their new big lie that they're gonna say, oh, Windows is actually a game platform. By the way, fun fact. I recently found this out. Like, a game platform, my ass. So, do you know why Windows 11 was completely unusable and everyone hated it? Turns out, the person who made how Windows looks for 11 was a DEI hired woman who literally never had used a PC in her life. And her previous experience at designing was, I don't remember what it was, but it was literally, it was probably less than me. Yes, that is why Windows 11, why everyone hated it and it was barely usable and functioning, and we have all these problems now. Because Microsoft hired a DEI hire who had never used a computer to make the design for the computer. I mean, Microsoft, I don't know even if they have a future at this point, okay? They're building their quantum PCs and whatnot. I mean, we're 5 seconds away from them hiring a DEI hire there and actually exploding, probably. We don't have to worry about the singularity because the DEI hires are going to make sure that we can't, that we go back to the Stone Age at this rate.
Of course, Steam has built a massive marketplace on top of it, and they've done a very successful job. Now, we're the largest publisher after the Activision deal. Therefore, we want to be a fantastic publisher. Similar approach to what we did with Office. We want to be everywhere, in every platform. So we want to make sure, whether it's consoles, whether it's PC, whether it's mobile, whether it's cloud gaming, or the TV. We just want to make sure the games are being enjoyed by gamers everywhere. Second, we also wanted to do innovative work in the system side on the console and on the PC. It's kind of funny that people think about console PC as two different things. We built the console because we wanted to build a better PC, which could then perform for gaming. I kind of want to revisit some of that conventional wisdom, but at the end of the day, console has an experience that is unparalleled. It delivers performance that is unparalleled, that pushes, I think, the system forward. So I'm really looking forward to the next console, the next PC gaming. But most importantly, the game business model has to be where we have to invent maybe some new interactive media as well. After all, gaming's competition is not other gaming.
By the way, the fact that Nadella is saying that also is like 7 layers of irony, because, well, I can't say these things on YouTube, but something, not inventing anything.
Gaming's competition is short form video. And so if we as an industry don't continue to innovate both how we produce, what we produce, how we think about distribution, the economic model, the best way to innovate is to have good margins, because that's the way you can fund. So now you start to see how the speech is trickling down, right? We're starting to hear Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, Sarah Bond say these similar things. Like we covered earlier this week, Matt Booty saying like the biggest form of competition for Xbox is TikTok and movies. This has received a lot of eyebrow raises across the industry, and a lot of people don't agree with it. Many do, though, I've seen online, have understood what this means and how true it actually is, because the reality is there is content everywhere, and the fight is for your time. Really, the biggest competition for some of these companies is the time you spend with your family. It sounds dystopian, and that's because it is. They don't want you doing that. They want you consuming constantly, and so they want you to go on your short form videos, or Xbox wants to take you away from that and put you in their ecosystem. So while there's much I do disagree with in Microsoft proper and Xbox proper plenty, this is one of those talking points I don't. I get why they're looking at that and seeing the time spent as a threat. It does not mean that PlayStation and Nintendo...
Why is he saying proper? It's not like a Ubisoft situation where there's Ubisoft proper and then now there's the Ubisoft that gets all the good IPs and splits apart from it. What? What is this? Seriously, is this some kind of use a lot of fancy random words thing?
Nintendo are less of a competitor. It just means that you have to fight for time. And how do you fight for time? You produce great video games. Something that Xbox has done, but to the level of a Game of the Year winner.
Yeah, Xbox hasn't done that in decades.
They have not done that yet. Both PlayStation in God of War, and of course Nintendo in things like Breath of the Wild.
God of War is absolutely cucked, okay? We have moved from Kratos literally going to an H house and getting it on with like a 6 at a time, and quick time abandon your daughter events to I'm a cock and here's my probably not actually my child events. Bruv.
Have produced Game of the Year titles, or contenders even, like Tears of the Kingdom or Spider-Man. Xbox has found themselves making...
Spider-Man failed.
Great games for particular type of gamers. Like, I love Indiana Jones, but that really wasn't cracking.
No one loved Indiana Jones. It had like a 2.7k peak player base. It was hilarious. It literally got marketed as a game for modern audiences, which was the most hilarious thing, because the game wasn't actually a game for modern audiences at all. Like, Indiana Jones, this Indiana Jones game was not folk at all. It had actually refreshingly decent interactions with women and men, you know? None of this, oh, but the women know everything best, they're super strong and capable and whatnot. None of that, pretty much. But the game was garbage. It was like Dishonored without powers and 5 times worse anyway. Holy. So, you know, but again, they can't even market their games properly.
Into the Game of the Year conversation, partially because of where it released. I really enjoyed The Outer Worlds 2, but that's because it's for my particular taste. But I also understand...
Yeah, no one else did, sadly.
That's not going to be a Game of the Year style title. So this is one way Xbox could get your time, right? They could actually just compete by making top-of-the-line video games. But we've seen how that's gone, and that's just too up in the air for them, clearly. So now we take a look at what they're talking about here with this Windows business and how the focus is being everywhere. A lot of people have framed this as Xbox has seen the light, this is how it should be. But I'll once again state that this
Who
just
are they trying to get with these commercials, by the way? Are they like trying to get 10-year-old Zooms to play this? Because you don't see, it's like, it's a colorful ad that probably should resonate with what, like 12-year-old girls maybe? And all in the ads you're seeing actually like what, like 25 to 30-year-olds? Like, what is this ad even targeted on? I honestly don't even get it.
this isn't how the rest of entertainment operates. I don't think as a creative, you make a thing and you go, I only want X and Y to play this. Like, you don't really do that. You want as many people as possible.
But you should do that. Something for everyone is something for nothing. No one, I should say.
To play that thing. But part of the reason people are happy to make exclusive content is because the deals behind closed doors. It's not this simple. In fact, I don't know fully how it goes, but it's not as simple as like, hey, you make game A and bring it to our platform and we'll give you this much money. But like, there is a level of security financially, like, okay.
I mean, it's pretty much almost how that goes for Game Pass, by the way. It's pretty almost much that.
We can make this because we're providing content effectively for a service. So a lot of creatives will take that bag because it kind of makes their world go around. Like, I get to make the thing I want. This company finds value in it for their ecosystem in an exclusive capacity where they'll sell it to their customers and use it as a draw to their platform so they do more spending within the storefront on third party, which funny enough was brought up here by Xbox's earnings. What we're seeing here is Xbox trying to bring the rest of the industry in line with their vision because Xbox has lost, right? Not in the terms of money made. You're the biggest publisher in video games. You have Activision, you have your own first party studios.
The biggest publisher of video games that's probably hemorrhaging money. Yeah, that doesn't sound good though. In any case, Xbox, I mean, it's over. Now, don't get me wrong, Xbox is not going anywhere. You need to understand about these giant companies. Yeah, sure, Microsoft is looking at the gaming division and they're like, wow, this is garbage, everything's failing. They're not gonna just, close up shop and leave. No, they already have a foothold. They already know that it can be way better. So they're gonna stay. They're gonna just find things and whatnot to do, and hopefully that works out. They're gonna just switch tactics. These companies never just stop doing these things outright. Probably, like look at League of Legends and Legends of Runeterra, for example. A card game. It failed, but they still keep it up. And now it's actually kind of having a resurgent as a roguelite, technically, which is very odd. But in any case, that was Mr. Matty Plays 10 out of 10. Bye!